Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see here today, make sure you like and subscribe. All right, now that we got that out of the way. Sorry, I'm eating cheese. It's kind of chaotic at my house right now because Thomas is sitting there eating his lunch. Luca is in quiet time, and I need to make more bread. So that's why I thought I'd make this video, so it's not perfect. We'll just say like half of the mess is shoved down on the other end of my counter just because I wanted to film this while I was doing it, and I didn't want to do like any special setup. So bear with me. All right, so I got my starter ready last night. I fed it, which is probably the most prep when you're doing like sourdough. It's kind of like you have to think ahead to like when you want it, whether you're making bagels or bread or whatever. I always thought that sourdough was gonna be super duper hard, and it's really not. I've had Doughy Jr. here since February or March. I started my own starter, and then my sister-in-law Hannah gave me starter, and I actually ended up just combining the two, but starter is super easy to make. Literally, it's just water and flour. Anyway, I'm gonna be making bread because we have not had our own homemade bread in a minute. I actually bought bread for last night. I made French toast just because I didn't have bread made. And the reason I like homemade bread is because sourdough bread literally has like this. These are the ingredients right here. Your starter, bread flour, extra virgin olive oil, salt, and water. That's it. That's all there is into it. You guys should see, I think I have some right here. It's okay, Thomas. Like this long ingredient list right here is just for bread. Like, why do you need, like, I don't understand why you need like soybean oil in bread. You don't. That's the answer right there. You just don't. So, when I started actually paying attention to what was on the labels, I was like, no, we're gonna do something different here. So, we're gonna make some bread together. Yay. Oh, are you not happy about that, Thomas? Eat your sweet potato. Like I said, I have company in my video. You say hi, Thomas? I don't know. Where are you? There you are. Say hi. He is eating some sweet potatoes right now. All right, let's see. Does that give you a really good view? Oh, sorry guys, I'm a professional here. All right, so what I'm gonna start off with is, I learned this, the easiest way to do this, I was doing it by like cups. I just set the whole thing on the scale now. So you do, hold on. I have my little calculations cheat sheet here, so I don't have to do the math every time. So you will start off by doing 250 grams of water in your bowl. So just measure your bowl on your little kitchen scale. If you don't have a kitchen scale, get a kitchen scale. I know I said I don't have any special tools, and I don't think this is really a special tool. I think I picked this up for like 12 bucks off Amazon. Seriously, it's so helpful for like most things I'm doing in the kitchen. I've used this so much, it's paid for itself. Pick up a kitchen scale, it'll make your life significantly easier. So 250 grams of water, so that's what I gotta get right now. I mean, you don't have to be super like, I wouldn't say I'm exact. Sourdough is super forgiving. So even if you're like a couple grams off either way, it's fine. You can always add water. You could always add a little flour. Like I said, it's a super forgiving. All right, so now I have my super bubbly starter. I don't know if you can see that. And the thing about starter, you can tell when it's ready. There's a couple ways. When you smell it, it has that like doughy smell. If you open up your starter and it smells super sharp or super like alcoholic, it's too sour. It's like fermented too long. You can still use it. That's the thing. You can use sourdough whenever, but it's going to give your bread a more sour taste. I find when you do it like super bubbly like this, you're not going to get that super sour aftertaste, which I don't necessarily like, but to each his own. So you're going to use 150 grams of starter. And the other way you can tell if it's ready is take a spoonful out of your starter and you put it in like a little glass of water. If it floats, it's ready to use. If it sinks to the bottom, it's not ready. It's either fermented too long or not enough. And with sourdough, oh yeah, with sourdough, depending on your temperature is really gonna affect like how long it takes. So like in the winter months, it's gonna take longer to ferment than in the summer. That's what I found. So when I started making sourdough, it was cold out. So I was, sorry, I had to get paper towel. So I was letting it ferment for like 12 hours and it was perfect timing. But in the summer I was finding it was only taking, you know, 6 hours and I wasn't expecting that. So there were a lot of times I had to feed it again because I wanted to use it and it like was too sour, like it wasn't ready, and I was like, dang it. So there was kind of like that learning curve to it. Sourdough I think is more of like an art than a science because it's kind of like, you just kind of go with the flow of it, I guess. So anyway, I added my 150 grams of sourdough, and then you can get your really fancy fork and just kind of mix it together. In a lot of recipes that I found to make sourdough, they have you put salt in like after you've let it auto claps or whatever you call it. I'm really scientific with terms here. I just add everything in right now, all my salt. I think it's fine, but people do it different ways. So if you're ever looking up sourdough, like a sourdough recipe and they have you add the salt later, I think it's really preference. I just add it in now because I know I forget to do it later. So I make it easier on myself. I'm gonna add in the salt. So this is 10 grams of salt. Actually, I'm gonna add a little bit more starter. It's not as much as I thought. Maybe that's a little too much, but it's fine. All right, I'm gonna add 10 grams of salt. Okay, I'm back. Thomas had a little bit of a meltdown, so he is my buddy right here. Say hi, Thomas. So that's normally how I end up having to cook, which is a little more challenging because he's mobile in that and he pushes it all around our front living space. So, okay, so I added salt. I'm gonna mix it. Where are you going? He thinks he's funny because he's moving everywhere. And it's not exactly a mobile, or it's not supposed to be mobile, but you know. All right. Oh, my thing turned off. All right, now I'm gonna add about 20 to 25 grams of extra virgin olive oil. I've used butter in the past because I was trying to cut down on like the type of oils, which is a whole other conversation. I'll have to do like a whole video on why I don't love seed oils and what that means, because that is a big thing for me. Am I a purist? No, because I do need some convenience in my life, but that is a story for another time, which I promise I will, because that kind of engulfs it's what got me started on this whole thing, culinary wise. Otherwise, I'd still be fine eating, you know, store-bought bread, which I still do, let's be honest. I did last night. All right, so I did all that. I added, it was about 20 grams. Like I said, this is more of an art than a science. You don't have to be exact in your measurements. I think me of 3 years ago would have about fainted because I pretty much lived to just do, if I was doing any sort of like cooking or baking, I followed recipe like to the letter because I was like, otherwise it's gonna be horrible. And it's usually not, but anyway. Okay, so now I'm gonna add in about 500 grams of bread flour. Shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 shake. Ah! That's too much. All right, I'm gonna leave it out. I got a little bit too much. All right, perfect. Well, actually, a little bit more. All right, so that's it. Done with that. And now we have to mix this, and I'm gonna mix it with my hands. You don't have to, well, no, you kind of have to mix it with your hands, so if you don't want to, too bad. Like trying to watch to see where Thomas is going. Thomas, Thomas, where are you going? It's like having a little dog and a baby combined. All right, so now it's getting kind of tough with my fork. I'm going to take off my rings so I don't get them all doughy, and clump this up with my hands. Just scrape the side of the bowl, like so. I don't even know if you can see this. See, it's literally just making dough, you know? Nothing to it, really. Getting this all nice and mashed. So the thing I've learned is if it's super, super, like, wet and sticky, add some more flour. If it doesn't seem like it's clumping enough, like into dough, add a little bit more water, and that will help. Just like little bits at a time. You'd be surprised at how little water you actually need to get it to dough together. Actually, I think I might add a little bit of water. Just a little drop. No, you really can't see this. This is not a good angle. I'm moving my camera too much. But anyway, so I'm gonna get this all mixed together, and then in most of the recipes that I have followed, they say to put like a damp cloth over it. And I've tried to do this a couple different ways. I've actually like tried to get my whole like towel damp, and I didn't really like how it was working. So what I do is I just get a piece of paper towel and I like let it just like zoop, zoop, like that with the sound effect, zoop, under the faucet. And I put that over it so it still has some of that moisture. But sometimes I also skip that step and it's fine. All right, now we need that. See, it's just damp, and I unfold it. You're being so sneaky, Thomas. And then I will cover it, and that is it. That's it. And then you let it sit on your counter for 8, 12 hours. You let it sit until it doubles in size, and then you're free to bake it. If you know that you're not going to be able to bake it right away, or you're thinking ahead, like by the time this is ready, it'll be like, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I could bake it tonight, or I could just stick it in the fridge and bake it tomorrow. If you put it in the fridge, you should use it, I would say, within a couple days. Like, bake it within a couple days. It's not going to go bad. It just slows the fermentation process down. So that's pretty much, that's it, guys. That's as easy as it gets to make bread. So I just want to add in like a quick footnote that after you get the bread like all mixed together in your bowl, you want to make sure you knead it for a minute or so. I don't know if I made that clear like while I was doing it. I'm getting so used to just, it's like an automatic process to me because I've been making bread since February, March pretty consistently, like almost weekly. So at this point I'm just like flying through the process, but I wanted to make sure that was clear and easy to follow along. Kneaded a little bit. You don't have to do like anything super drastic. Like I said, it's an art, not a science. Kind of gauge it. And honestly, you don't have to be a bread expert. Just like when the bread looks like it's formed, stop. It's good. I hope that's a helpful description. I guess I'll show you because it's done now, but just until it's like in a nice little doughy ball, and then cover it and let it sit. All right, hey guys, so it is the next day. I ended up putting the dough in the fridge last night because it was like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make this right now. So I pulled it out of the fridge. This is still cold, and I've just been kind of forming it into the ball. I don't know what they call them. Jewel? I don't know. There's like a special name for it that I don't remember clearly. So I'm getting this all formed up, and I'm going to use, you can use one of these things to like slice your dough. Sometimes I just use it like a serrated knife, like steak knife. It works as well. So that way it will let it all bake and all that. Okay, so Thomas is freaking out in the back, but I formed the dough, cut it. I'm gonna put it in the top, like the top back on. I set the oven for 450, and I'm turning it down to about 420. So I'm gonna bake that for 20 minutes, the bread in the oven, for 20 minutes with the top on. And then I will take the top off, and it'll bake for about another 40-45 minutes depending on how it looks. But yeah, that is about it. That's all you have to do. Very simple, and then after that you can enjoy it. It's really good. Butter, apple butter, jam. You guys, there's nothing like some homemade bread. So I just took it out of the oven, and you guys, that was a bad angle, but I'm so excited. So I just have to let it cool 4 minutes so I don't burn my fingers. I think most sourdough expert people say to like wait an hour, but guys, fresh bread, we're gonna dig into that way before an hour. Believe you me. It's bread cutting time. I don't even think you can see the steam, but oh. Now we add butter, and it will be so good.